I'm back in Kurri for the sentencing of Betty, who has pled guilty to the offence called hindering investigation. It's April 2024. Betty was charged in January. The first mention was in January where they pled not guilty, but at the second mention in March they changed their plea to guilty. So this should be the final court appearance for this matter, as this is the sentencing. There are the usual sort of 50 cases on the list at Kurri on this day. I arrive before court starts and I notice Betty isn't out the front. I take a seat in the empty gallery behind the well-dressed police officers, one of which I think is a prosecutor who is appearing in Betty's case rather than the usual Kurri police prosecutor. These police detectives repeatedly showing up to hear this case gives me the sense that they are invested in the process. Remember, there are murder cases now that is linked to Betty's case. I notice a journalist also takes a seat in the empty gallery. Court starts with a bit of a giggle as the magistrate is accidentally locked out of the courtroom. In fact, the giggles continue during the morning as Kurri is quickly becoming my favourite local court. I have nothing else to do but listen to the other cases. I notice the well-dressed police start an unofficial investigation to locate Betty. Is it possible that Betty is a no-show today? While we wait, enter Trevor, not his real name. Now, I never get to see Trevor because I'm blocked by the wooden dock in the middle of the room, but I can hear him and he starts his story as soon as he enters the courtroom. Remember, the defendant's microphone is right at the door as you enter, so I guess there's a risk people can just launch into their legal story. Honestly, as soon as Trevor speaks, I'm a big fan. Trevor is from Newcastle and recently visited Kurri where he got a parking fine. As Trevor explains, in Newcastle they park rear to curb. However, to his surprise, in Kurri, for some reason, they have nose to curb parking. Just an example, out the front of court, nose to curb. Trevor's argument about nose to curb parking become increasingly entertaining as he starts to include references to the new road. Trevor's mum, 91, had joined Trevor for the journey to Kurri Court on this day because it was an opportunity to drive on the new road. Everyone is holding in the giggles now as Trevor keeps mentioning the new road. Honestly, I have no idea what he means by the new road. Maybe he means the Hunter Expressway. However, that opened 10 years ago. By the time Trevor starts including riding his horse to court to avoid parking fines, the magistrate quickly ends things. I'm looking up when Trevor's next court date is because I have to know what happens next. But where is Betty? It's 10:30 now and court has been sitting for over an hour. The bench is empty, all the solicitors are gone and the gallery is empty. So the magistrate asked the well-dressed police prosecutor, "What case is yours? Do you want to go next?" No, they haven't found Betty yet. Then I'm asked, what case is my case? Do I want to go next? No, I'm just observing. Then the journo is asked, what case is theirs? Do they want to go next? No, they're just observing as well. Then they send a court officer outside to look for defendants. There's a lot of silence and I'm still wondering about the new road. Then some people enter with small children. They close the court to deal with this case. The defendant is an adult, however the offence involves children. I go outside, so does the journo. The well-dressed police who don't have to leave also leave. It's an excuse to get some fresh air. Out the front of court is Betty. By the way, no one interacts. I don't speak to anyone, neither does the journo or the police or Betty. It's a bit obvious now, but obviously we're all here for Betty's case. Court opens up after 11 a.m. and Betty's case is up. The defence and the prosecutor are still finalising the facts and plan to have a conference next week. So they are seeking an adjournment until later in April. Oh well, no sentencing today. Interesting morning in Kurri and I discovered nothing new about the case. I actually have the feeling it won't be sentenced at the next court date either. Sometimes you go to what seems like endless court mentions and it's the one that you miss where something interesting happens. Let's see what happens at the next court date.